Jay, so how did you first get involved with BizWorld?
Yeah, you bet. It was actually through a friend. So I was at Hewlett Packard in the software division, and a fellow board member, Harry Gould, had introduced BizWorld to our leadership team. And I've always been interested in the building phase, the entrepreneurial phase, whether that's starting a company or starting an initiative within a company. So kind of the entrepreneur and intrapreneur divide, if you will. And so, yeah, so I owe all the inspiration to Harry, and that's gosh, almost 7, 8 years ago, maybe more. Um, we'll have to look. And part of it was that hit me right away is that in academia, in particular in middle school, high school, that a lot of the education around managing your finances, learning how to build a business, learning how to present yourself, build that confidence. A lot of those things were missing. And so I felt that BizWorld really had something unique as they were offering it as a program to either after school or part of the school curriculum to address those gaps. So that spoke near and dear. And I said, hey, I'd love to get involved and see where it goes.
Nice. Through a referral from a business colleague, and then when you saw BizWorld, you sort of felt in yourself that there was a gap in formal education, specifically around the finance side, business management, even managing oneself a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just, so often you get taught a lot of the, I would say, academic things in terms of math and reading and writing and discovery and all the things that are important. But if you think about what BizWorld can provide, it is in essence the life skills of how to think like an entrepreneur. Whether you're going to go into business yourself or not is not the qualification of should you be a part of it. It is really as a way to think and approach, a problem or an opportunity with teams and building a business. So a lot of those fundamentals, I really feel that are super necessary for younger generation, even older generation. It's such a fundamental set of skills.
Nice. And I love that you mentioned that because BizWorld is so much more than just entrepreneurship or business education, right? It's truly working to teach life skills through the business education, right? And so you don't have to go on to become a business owner, right? But you're going to actually have the skill needing to succeed in every aspect of life, huh?
I think so. I think it's fundamental, and you see these. I mean, I'm inspired every time I come across a
Mhm.
team that is thinking of a new idea or a new product, and you can see all the challenges that sit in front of them, and that's going to be different for so many. But I think you see this within them to work through difficult topics, learn more about themselves, learn more about the environment that they're in, and what they can do to contribute. Well, that's really inspiring to see.
Super inspiring. Super. So, Jade, you've had a very dynamic career, both in corporate America and as an entrepreneur. If you don't mind, give us a quick look at sort of your journey as an entrepreneur and what led you to actually founding Gen AI Works.
Yeah, you bet. So I think for me, one, I've had the fortunate opportunity to grow up in Silicon Valley. Both my parents were not in tech, probably furthest from it. And so saw a lot of the influence of just what was happening with neighbors and their kids and those that had worked closely with the founders of Hewlett Packard. And, just kind of maybe were those inspirations as a young kid to see the art of the possible. And so for me, yeah, I mean, go back to the early days of being, really young in my teenage years, starting businesses and doing work for neighbors and finding creative ways to make money. And so it's always been kind of an innate effort within me to figure that out. But really, what I ended up going into is some of the corporate environments and then realizing that, hey, starting something would be cool. And so it had a number of stints. Kind of the first biggest one, a colleague of mine and I started a hedge fund. And the reason why we went after that one is we actually got a C minus on our paper. This was in business school, a C minus on our paper, and our market professor said, "There's no way this is going to work." And I said, "Well, the principle was, why should only the wealthy or the affluent at the time have access to certain investment vehicles?" And there's a variety of reasons why accredited investors do. So it's not debating that, but really about this accessibility to something. And so we went off and built this, raised some capital, and launched a fund, which was a great experience. And unfortunately, it came crashing during the change in 2008. So a complete learning of scaling quickly, operating the top tier, and then unfortunately having to shut it down, in time. But I think part of this spark and this interest of believing in yourself that you can do something, right? And I had a lot of trepidation, didn't perhaps believe that we could, or believe in myself that we could make something happen. And so it was a bit of a test of like, put yourself out there, build that confidence. And so back to the thing of what it means to BizWorld, it really kind of speaks to that interest of really helping young kids really gain that early confidence, to really lean into something to believe in. And so, yeah, so a couple stints there, and then some entrepreneuring while at HP, and then building businesses, at GE that were, not a part of the core business. So always been a mentality of a builder. And I would say the thing that is now opportunistically landed for us with GenAI.Works, which started about 2 years ago, was a simple principle that if we could help demystify, or be a component in helping demystify the complexity of AI, in helping society discover, learn, and grow, then maybe we've done something, right. And so the mission for the company has stayed true. The company's grown successfully, and on the basis of a belief. And that belief was that we could be, and continue to be, the most unbiased source of information to help anyone in their journey, whether mature within AI or just starting out. Then perhaps we've been able to, put something out there that can be resourceful for others. And so, I guess what it culminates into for me is, you know, not everyone's going to get their first startup right. Majority of startups do not make it. But you know, whether you're motivated by the startup itself and the outcome it might preserve, or your own ability just to continue to try when others say no, is just do it. Just lean into it. Know that you have a community and people that you can connect to and support you with it. And I think just so much of society needs this builder mentality, for the next generation to build unique things that can contribute to the betterment of what society needs. And so really excited about that. And I think I would only be, kind of keen to say that I'm thankful for the opportunity that we've had to pull this together with my co-founders. And I think the belief is, if you can always think about doing something far bigger than yourself, and really asking tough questions as to why this should exist, and then simply finding a way to go after it and not look back, is the best thing you can do.
It's great advice. I always think about doing something that's far bigger than yourself, and then just have the belief to go after it. Yeah, I really also like how you said that, there's actually a lot of support out there, right? Chances are good that your first startup is not going to succeed, but just try and move forward and then find support and mentorship. I think, especially in entrepreneurship, a lot of us have the mentality of growth and abundance, right? That it's not a me versus you, right? It's either I win or you win. It's like, no, we can all win and actually make a positive impact on this world, huh?
Yeah, 100%. And I think so often, people get really starstruck by, the investment opportunity and the exit. And that's all well and fine. I think others get starstruck by, trying to make an impact and do something different. But all in all, realizing that, as many people have said, being an entrepreneur or being a CEO is one of the loneliest jobs, because sometimes you don't know who to turn to and who to ask for help. And I'm deeply grateful for so many folks that have helped me and helped shape me and challenge me through a lot of these things. And nothing is ever perfect, and nor will you ever have all the answers. And so, just being resourceful to reach out to those when you need help, and also be mindful that when you're in that position, how you can help others that are are stepping through similar steps to help them where you can.
Great. Yep. No, entrepreneurship, being a CEO can definitely be very lonely. And so we need to make sure that we are finding people to reach out to. And then, like you said, once you're in that position to help, make sure that we're doing that. Right. It's
Yeah,
like people that mentor us, once we're back in the position, now we need to mentor others as well and keep the cycle going and building up.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Jay, I also just want to note that, I think you're a really great example for BizWorld's sort of mission and vision, really about building life skills. Because, as you mentioned, a lot of your career was in corporate America, where you just said that you were a builder inside of other businesses that weren't just your own. It wasn't just entrepreneurship, the direction that you took, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny. I'll get labeled at times. People say, "Oh, you're the big company guy, you're the big corporate guy." And I go, "No, not really. That's perhaps how you think about it, but the mindset of how you show up and what work you do, no matter the setting, is what matters most." And so I think it's just part of finding enjoyment in the work that you do, the people you work with, the challenge you're trying to take on, and realizing that you can find this notion of being a builder in anything you do. And I think one thing that's super important, especially for BizWorld, is sometimes, again, young kids, self included, you get advice that, oh, you need to just go take a job and do this, and that was the way it was.
Mhm.
But I've also looked at things differently to say, never let a job description in any way define you. It's just a set of parameters of what the person might be looking for. But what is it that you bring to the table, and how can you be as resourceful? And I think perhaps even just seeing a lot through what BizWorld does, really not only igniting the entrepreneurial spark, but creating this kind of athlete mentality is essential, right? That so many people think that, well, you got to be a specialist in one topic and go deep in one area. And there are rhymes and reasons and validations to do that. But in this era of AI going forward, what we're seeing so much is you have to know a lot about a lot of, excuse me, you have to know a lot or enough about a lot of different things. And so this idea of being a general purpose athlete that can understand business, can understand marketing, can understand, how to build product, how to win customers, how to deal with partnerships, is really important. And I think we're entering such a unique era where, especially for this younger generation, as it becomes much easier, not easy, but much easier to build applications using AI code bases. You can pick one of the large frameworks from doing that with Claude or with OpenAI or with other solutions that you then have the ability to say, wait a minute, I have to go figure out how I'm going to market this, I'm going to distribute it, how I'm going to engage with the customers, how I'm going to, work with partners to make this successful. So you have to think a lot more. And entrepreneurial expertise that BizWorld brings at such a young age is creating that builder mindset, that CEO mindset, which is just going to help so many of this next generation, really kind of embrace what I think is going to be essential, going forward.
Well said. Creating that builder mindset, that CEO mindset, that a good amount, actually a lot, about a lot of different subjects.
Yeah, an interesting thing that I saw, I can't remember who mentioned it yesterday on a LinkedIn post, but I thought it was very insightful. And it was talking about this so much that you come out of school and it's all about, I want to take a job to eventually become a manager, to then become a leader and have more responsibility. All those things are valid and interesting. But his comment was quite to the contrary of saying, okay, every leader, how do you become an individual contributor? And so the age of where I'm at and many of my peers is there's a lot of things we have to unlearn, in this AI forward world. And so I think there's so much of this idea that we've told young students, and I tell my kids the same thing, is your 20s should be like a set of Lego blocks. Learn as many different things, build as many different relationships and skill sets you can to understand how these pieces fit together. And whether that's, in software or, engineering disciplines or bio life science, you can think about this in a variety of industries. And so I think that's such an important thing for, a young age for folks to realize, hey, you're not going to figure it out at age 20. You're not going to have it figured out at 25. Many don't at 30 or 40 or beyond. But if you really embrace being an infinite learner, you're going to find enjoyment just about anything that you do.
Be an infinite learner. Yeah, I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm taking so many notes as we go. This is being recorded, but still, it's just
Sure.
it's so great. I really appreciate it. So you have a upcoming webinar and workshop that I'd love to hear more about. I think it's called AI and the Journey of a Co-founder.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been fortunate enough and thankful that the BizWorld teams asked me to share a little bit with students. And at first I kind of said, I wonder like why would my topic be interesting? And so I had to kind of sit with it a little bit to think about what would be beneficial. And part of it was a little bit of just explaining a journey. I think for many, self included, when you're young in your career or young as a student, you're fascinated by what others have done. How did they get to where they are? What were some of the challenges? And so often you hear so much about the successes. Actually, the converse is much more important. Like, where did you fail, or where did you trip, and how did you get back up, and how do you think about problems? How do you think about the approach? And so part of the session was just simply talking a little bit of what I've gone through, both big company and startups, and back to big company, and finding this interesting aspect of, again, being a builder, and then being able to kind of take it into some challenge questions. So really wanted to kind of have some thinking with the students to help them think about what does it mean to them. And one of the things we talked about was, so often people get into business for a dollar sign, money. And again,
Yeah.
as I said before, it's okay, but what really is your driver? What's your motivator? Because it's going to be the reason that will keep you going when things get really bad. And I want to tell them that things will get bad,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
well, don't be afraid of that. And that's where your network comes in. But really embrace work through. People always obviously talk a lot about adversity and the things that people go through shape you. I firmly believe it. But if people have that moral compass and they have the anchor to what it is they want to do, you really see a true character and you see a true motivator that when things get really dire, you're going to be like, that's what's keeping us moving. And it's also going to be the inspiration for your team, who you attract and to work with you, but also to your investors and your customers. And I think that is so important to have because at the end of the day, people buy because of relationship and trust. And yes, there's an unmet need and why a product might be needed, but 9 times out of 10, they're going to look at you and say, wow, you're a part of this. This is interesting. How do I think about it? And you're helping someone ultimately make a decision. And so that trust factor is huge. And I think it comes on the basis of you're building something with authenticity. So a little bit of that. And a lot of questions came up at the end of like, okay, well, how do I get started? And how do I think about building products using AI tools. And most of these students, again, these are middle school to high school students. They're already using various forms of AI building tools. And so it gave me some recommendations to think about it, because um, what's so interesting now in the time that we are in, it used to be the last 40 years, you had to go to school to learn a technical language on how to program a machine. And just within the last year, that has radically changed, such that the programming interface is the language. So your rate limiter of what you build is actually a function of creativity and how deep you can go and understand the product and what you build in the iteration. And so, anyways, I think we're just entering such a great era where it's going to be so important in education of helping students to really stress critical thinking and being able to go deep into problems and understand context and how things fit and why they do. Um, and so I think it's just an interesting opportunity to explain a little bit of what I would tell my, 18-year-old self if I had the opportunity to do so now.
Nice. The opportunity to tell your 18-year-old self what you would if you could look back and do that. And Jay, it's really great to hear that there's so much focus in this workshop of your journey, actually, right? And like that there's a lot of obstacles. It's not just focused on AI. Of course, that's an important piece, but so much of it is the learning from a true entrepreneur, and that there's a lot of obstacles. And so you've already given the workshop before, and then it's coming up the next time on October 21st.
Yeah.
And so we're super excited to get people to come and sign up for it. I'm curious,
Yeah.
what obstacles stick out in your mind that you could share with a young entrepreneur that maybe could help them not have to go through it themselves?
Yeah. So one of the things I think about is, as you think about a space of where these students will come together, oftentimes they're trying to solve it themselves. And you believe achievement is based on you solving something on your own. And I think society has, as many ways, reinforced it that, hey, you've got to learn this, you got to do this, you got to do this on your own. To a degree, that is absolutely true. But the power of a cohort is unbelievable. And so what I was kind of telling a number of the students was, use each other. You're all at the same playing field. You're coming at it from different business ideas and perspectives. And how did you approach this problem? So I said, start a WhatsApp group. And then, a lot of them are like, well, we don't use WhatsApp. We use Snap. Like, oh, that's right. That's what got it. So I like, start a group, whatever it works for you, because you're going to have 1,000 questions. And when you get into the moments of feeling like you don't know who to ask, or the question's too goofy to ask, or you might feel dumb about asking, you want to realize that, no one's judging you by the question you ask, other than you are judging yourself. And so that creates a bit of a safe zone for many of the students to ask each other. And that's where you see the magic happen, because they don't have a recency bias of, well, I built this the way I did the last 20 years, and this is how it has to be again, right? Us older generation have to unlearn a lot of those biases to think about building first principle now. And so,
Nice.
just as an example for many students, one, to really build that network and that cohort, and think about asking any question, and being inquisitive, because that's simply just trying to understand more. I think the second big thing is the soft skills of teaming. Like, so often we get into the technicals of why you build a product. Is it meeting a customer's need, and what feedback are you getting, and can you scale it from 5 to 50 and 50 to 100? And that's all important. But you hear some of the questions come up, and there are like, well, what does it mean to have a great teammate? What is it, should I hire my friend? And, should I, you go down this aspect of the team building itself. And that is so important, especially for youngsters that are, forming their own relationships, immediately go to friend groups and immediately figure out that, wow, one person not pulling all their weight. How do I deal with that situation? You
Yeah.
know, or I've had a commitment to get something else done. How do I tell my coworkers that, hey, I can't do this right now? And will they look at me as not pulling my own weight, sort of thing. So part of those softer skills, I think, are really, really important. Especially, you're not dealing with folks sometimes face to face, you're dealing with environments like this. And how do you keep yourself and others accountable? So
Yeah.
those are just
Yeah.
the things I think are super powerful and important. But I would say number one is those that show up, use the cohort because you all join for a similar reason and you all have this interest in building something or contributing to something. And so that is perhaps a uniting factor for you all then to learn from each other when we're away from the session.
That's great. I mean, honestly, use the cohort, use each other. There's no dumb questions, right? Just keep moving forward. We're often just most critical of ourselves, honestly.
Yeah.
And so, Jay, this session, right? AI and the journey of a co-founder. What can young entrepreneurs expect to walk away from the session with? Why should they make sure to attend?
Yeah. Well, I think I'll point it to three things. One is just listening through journeys of what's worked, what hasn't, so that they can pick up some nuggets to understand what might be in front of them. And that's, I think, just general for everybody to take advantage of. Two is, um, you know, learning a bit more of asking tough questions. So, what are your motivators? What are your values? Why do you care? Really trying to dig a little bit deeper to the things that are going to be the motivators for you. As when things get tough or when things are also successful, so you don't let it all go to your head. And so you know why you're doing what you're doing. And third is going to be like where to get started, especially in the usage of all the various AI tools that are out there, as there are many. Um, where would you start? How do you, spend less time iterating on an idea in at a vacuum and getting feedback? And how do I start to get people interested in my product? Where can I go to do this? So giving some tips and tricks on where to get started, as I said, is becoming much easier to take an idea to concept. And I think that's the exciting thing because so many young kids and entrepreneurs, it just simply starts an idea, and you want to be able to take that into a space where you can activate it, get feedback, find out it's not going to work, or find out it's going to work and iterate. So we'll talk a bit about that to close it out.
Exciting. I'm excited to attend myself, honestly. I mean, there's just endless things to learn. Endless things to learn, Jay. I appreciate it. Switching back over specifically to BizWorld for a second. I know we touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but you've been a supporter and a board member at BizWorld for years, since 2017, I think. What drew you into the organization in the first place?
Yeah, I think being able to look back on it now is something I wish I had as a young student. I remember junior achievement. I remember various programs that were thinking about this idea of building businesses and working together. So I was always fascinated about that. And so for me it was, well, if I can help to contribute to it in a way that is the broader network that we can access for students, but hopefully be also just a beacon to help contribute in its mission globally. And I think in many ways it's now inspired me to what my co-founders and I have built with GenAI.Works, which is so much you think about education as you have to go to, um, a four-year college or a two-year college, or go out on your own. Education or learning skill sets is absolutely essential to just the evolution of society. I know that sounds very altruistic, but we're in such a unique time right now that the economic unlock with AI in particular for the next set of applications or solutions or products to be built. I mean, we are just so early in the game. And I think if I think about it, what is so much needed are fundamentals, the boot camp of how to be an entrepreneur, how to think about finances, how to think about business, how to think about how you show up as a leader, an entrepreneur, ways to think through that. And therefore, having those foundations to me is just essential and something I'm thankful to be a part of here with the BizWorld team.
We're super, super thankful to have you as a part of it. Because you're right, right? Building those foundations is key, not just to business, but to life success as well. BizWorld does a really, really great job about that, teaching life skills through entrepreneurship education. So that was
Yeah.
sort of what got you involved in the first place.
Yeah.
What excites you to stay involved today with BizWorld?
I'm inspired by what these kids are doing. I find so much excitement in what I see and the ideas that they have. And as you evolve into life, like you see these patterns and the ability to maybe offer some guidance or assistance when someone's asking. You feel like you're contributing for certain. But I do think it is so powerful to see that you're able to touch so many lives. There's the entire spectrum of those that might be privileged to go to a four-year university, and many folks who are not, and that does not define someone's ability to be successful in this world. And I think it's important to impart these skill sets and these life learnings for anybody from any corner of the globe, to hopefully, one, give them a bit of confidence that they can, and two, give them the resources to go after it, and three, give them the network, to be able to expand that as they go. And I think it just, I haven't even had to think twice about it. It's been a joy to be a part of the team. In many ways, I feel like I need to be doing more as time allows, but it's a wonderful organization and a real testament to the entire leadership team and the board and being a part of it. So I'm humbled by that.
Amazing. Amazing. If we'll wrap up here, I have two more questions for you, Jay. I appreciate your time. If you could speak to a young entrepreneur out there, what would you say to encourage them to get involved with BizWorld or the Yes program?
Yeah. So I would encourage everybody to, if they have an interest in, building a business, or they've got an idea and they don't have the sounding board, this is a set of resources for you. You will not be in any way, sad that you've made the decision to be a part of it. If anything, it will be the spark to say, wow, you know what? I'm validating my thoughts, my ideas about it. And I would say too, is you're going to be around a set of like-minded colleagues, both young and old, that are going to be there for one simple thing, which is, helping to help each other take those ideas into reality. And so, join in on either programs based on your time and availability. Come to be inspired, come to inspire others, and frankly, come to unlock that creativity you've been given, and let's see what happens.
Amazing. I love it, Jay. And then very last, if you could say one thing to encourage others to support or get involved with this world, what would that be?
Oh man, I don't know if I just have one thing, but I'll try to narrow it to one thing. It is, yeah, having had the privilege of being a part of this world, and as well as doing a number of things in various companies, I think we owe such an opportunity to help these young-minded entrepreneurs um, be steered in the right direction. And so many have a belief in an opportunity and may just not have the resource or access. And your contribution, your ability to support this BizWorld and the foundation is vital. I think we're finding that you can reach entrepreneurs all over the globe. This is by no way is a Silicon Valley thing. This is, innovating where you live and creating community of the next growth and opportunity for students. So I know that's not one thing, but it's probably many things. And there's so many folks out there that I know that could contribute significantly, both in their time and finances if they so choose. That would definitely benefit not just the organization, but your next generation of builders.
Beautiful. Dave, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Is
Right.
there anything that I didn't ask? Any last thoughts about BizWorld overall that you want to share?
No, Wayne, I think you've asked everything, and just it's a great opportunity to be a part of something special and something that society, I think, continually benefits from, and so glad to be a part of it.